Sean and I spoke on a phone call and had
Mhm.
more thoughts on that. And then he had all kinds of questions come out of his mind, which that's what I that's what I love is the questions that come out of my mind, the question that comes out of his mind, they're totally differently. And then the questions that y'all end up having are totally differently. And I love that. I love it because it gives me even more perspective, just something different. So it was interesting the things we're studying that in a group I'm in
Oh,
and
okay.
that book. And but the group that I'm in, they're looking more at the symbolism and I'm looking more at application. So
Yeah.
it was really curious. So
Yeah, which
y'all,
is something really good to study, like the historical background,
mm-hmm,
what it meant for the people, and really, how you can apply that to today in my life. So that's how I like to look at the books when I do my Bible
yeah,
study too. Because
there's a
it's interesting to know what was happening at the time, what was the circumstances, what the book is written for, and to whom, and then you see, it's incredible see the similarities in today's world, how everything
mm-hmm,
translates, and it's been written so long ago and still applies like a book that is so you know so
modern
full
day.
of wisdom. Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
you could always
You know,
put something into your life.
people have said it's been said before, and I don't think I'll say it exactly right. There's a saying that goes to it, but people that don't read or pay attention to history are destined to repeat it. So
Hmm.
I like books that have been written a long time ago because I'm like, if there's something I can learn that I don't have to repeat and I can still get the lesson, that's wonderful.
Yeah, but we keep repeating the same lessons again and again. It's
Yeah,
just
right. Y'all, if my eyes don't deceive me, look who's in the red shirt on screen.
see, isn't there?
Oh,
Morning.
good
Oh.
morning.
Good
How y'all?
morning.
Hello, good morning, Sean. You survived?
I did. And last night I did about 10 o'clock, did one of those, hey, listen, I'm going live, ask me anything calls.
I
And
saw that, but it
we had a
was,
jump
after
on.
the fact.
And yeah, and then I also had one of my business partners jump on, Angel Fletcher. That's quite unique. So that's some pretty amazing content being on there last night. So that was pretty cool.
I can't believe I missed it, but I was passed out. We have not stopped moving for 2 days, so I don't even know if I'm home or if I'm awake, if I'm asleep. I don't know what's going on. But man, I would have loved to seen you and Angel live. She's getting bold and doing some live videos lately, and that's not her.
No, that's she did some things. She did some things yesterday because of her situation. That's pretty amazing that they heard on the call last night, and I'll share those with you. Hey, good morning, Misfits. It is Saturday. What is today? March 14th. Is it the 14th? Yes, yesterday was Friday the 13th. Yesterday we had time change, Friday the 13th, and something on the coronavirus. This could be the end of the world. So make sure you send out your messages. I got a couple of messages from y'all. Love you tons for that. Couple of things as I was listening to Rhonda and Gisela have a conversation. The reason we keep reading a book is because there does need to be some lessons learned. Hey, Shammy, good morning. And if we're learning if we learn the lessons, are we passing the lessons down? So that was a little bit that popped out of that. We had an amazing event here in Costa Rica. We got day 2 coming up here. What was interesting is how powerful a simple message could be. I do this thing that I've used for years to build relationships with people. And I did it with somebody who I just met. And I met this gentleman, they're from Mexico, and they're building big groups there. And I asked him, who's somebody on your team that you wish would have been here? Well, we did this with somebody who's a leader on his team. somebody who's building on his team. I said, what's your relationship? Well, we've known each other for a while. And I did what I do. I do my message. That's a unique way that I do it. And she sends back this text to her friend, to her upline. I felt the support of God. Now, it's important. I knew it sure as heck wasn't me. But I knew the message I sent was the right message for her. And he was just stunned looking at that message. I read it in Spanish and then he translated it in English. I said, no, I understand what it means. He goes, I've never had a message like that on my phone. I said, because you never said what I said. I said, now you know I am the papa of all of you, of everybody in this room, of everybody in Latin America. 98% of everybody in Latin America. I said, because I'm not here to build your business. I'm here to build you. So that's kind of what we talked about last night on the call with Angel. Angel was talking about how we build you. And there was a couple of strong women on there. There was an 18-year-old who Kenya, I had never met Kenya before, or Kana. And I'd never met her before. And and her mom is in her team. And it was amazing because she asked a powerful question. And I was so glad Angel was there because I could have answered the question. I could give an answer. There's a big difference. Listen carefully. This just hit me. There's a big difference between giving an answer and giving an answer to the question. Lots of people can give you an answer. Hey, how do I get to so-and-so? You go down here, you take a left, you take a right, you take a left. You go down there, you take a right, you take a left, you take a right. And you're like, where the hell is it? And somebody goes, they gave you the wrong directions. They gave you an answer. They didn't answer your question. So the answer that Angel gave could only have come from someone like Angel, a mother. And I was just tickled that she jumped on the call. And she said to me later, she sent me a message later because we were sending each other's a message going, that was fun, thank you. She said, I was just typing that. She goes, that was so much fun. I haven't had fun like that in a while, right? Because it was about pouring into people. So what I learned yesterday is that with whatever's on media, because for all I know, God willing, right? Knock on wood, do all of those things. The coronavirus doesn't exist where I'm at. If you don't have it, it doesn't exist where you are at. But you know where it exists, and if the law of attraction works, right? If you talk about it, what you talk about and think about, you bring about. Now you can be thankful for things and not even know it. And the way you become thankful for things is you talk about it a lot. How much shit that you had in your past keeps showing up in today? Well, because you keep talking about it. Oh, man, my relationships always suck. How's your relationship now? It sucks. Oh, really? I'm shocked. How's your business? It's so hard to do this business. I can't find people. Tell me how many people you got in your business. I don't have many. I can't find anybody. Really? I bet this isn't the first time this happened. What if you spoke into existence more of what you wanted? Right? If we were made in his image and we were made to do everything he could do and more, that phrase, those two words always get me. Even the least amongst you can do this and more and more. He didn't say a little more. He didn't say some of you could. He said the least of you. You know why the least of us, he probably said, is because they ain't worried about all the things they think they are. Maybe that least me, and here we go, Bible study, like I'm supposed to be leading a Bible study. Here we go. The least of you, meaning the ones who think least of your ego. The ones who have the least ego, the ones who have the least prejudice, right? Prejudice is man's way of thinking. That's all it is. That's all prejudice is a way of thinking. When you put somebody, what I say, there's a word. When you take a human being and you turn them into a concept. They're black, they're white, they're tall, they're and boom. Ahora. To reduce prejudice identifies with the thinking mind. It means you don't see the other person, you only see the concept of the other person. To reduce anyone to a concept is a form of violence. So the least of us, when we reduce ourselves, when we eliminate that we're not good enough, when we eliminate that we're not tall enough or strong enough or short enough, when we eliminate that, we wind up being able to be a being who's aware again. So, has anybody ever been bored? If you've been bored, type a B in the chat. There's Daniela. Daniela was on the call last night. Hello, my love.
Hello, Sean.
You still letting some of those ideas, those nuggets swim through your brain?
For sure. Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm gonna turn this over so I can. Let's see here. So we got a couple of beats. You know what a bored mind is? A bored mind is hungry. That's what a bored mind is. And with all of the thoughts you got going on and all of the things you want, if you've ever been bored, it's a hungry mind. And so how do you satisfy a hungry mind? Shopping, internet surfing, scrolling through Facebook, watching TikTok for 2 hours. My hand is raised. Magazines, food, all of this stuff, that's a bored mind. That's why it's said many times, and again, I forget who said it, it might have been Emerson, the idea of sustained thought, the idea of any man in sustained thought is the most difficult thing. It's the most difficult thing to stay focused on your goals, to stay focused on the word. All right, how many of you read if you read and you fall asleep? That's because you're slowing down your mind and it's not active enough. So I've taken speed reading classes. I've got friends of mine who teach it. A buddy of mine knows the guy who's the world's fastest speed reader, literally 25,000 words a minute or something crazy like that. So the way I don't fall asleep is when I read. And that's how I got good at asking questions. I will read something. I will read something in a book. Usually it's audio, but I'll read something in a book and I'll start to underline it. And whenever I underline it, I usually go back within a day. You will see in the pages that follow that the emotional states of the brain are rather impervious to a strict diet of knowledge. Rather impervious to a strict diet of knowledge. Insight, planning, and deciding. You can read a stack of books on parenting, but you still parent just the way your parents did. Right? All of these things we think we change. The emotional states of the brain. Did you know there's 5 emotional states to the brain? Maybe, maybe not. But you can put all the knowledge in you want. You know, I bet there's people who have done harm to people who have also read the Bible and said, thou shalt not murder. I bet there's people who read, thou shalt not commit adultery while they were sleeping with the neighbor's wife. They were reading the book. You know, I should get into this. I should read this book more often. We can read all of this stuff, but it's the emotional state. You've heard people on this call, when they're having a conversation, when they're having an awakening, what's the one thing that's common with all of them, regardless of race, religion, creed, age, location? One thing you'll hear from all of them is this. And if you're not aware, let me let you in on a little secret. When you open your mouth and you let air pass over your vocal cords, that sound is in every name that is used for God. Yahweh, Buddha, Krishna. The 35 or 36 names they have that are out there for God, they all exist with a and when you put that vibration in your body, that's what you're speaking. So if you're religious or not religious, you go to church, you don't go to church, I can tell you, if you ever said, you've spoken the word of God. He's kind of sneaky that way sometimes. He wants to let you know, hey, listen, if you're here, I'm here. I'm ready. You ready? You ready? I'm ready. Let me see if I can't give you. Oh, listen, Johnny on 13th Street needs a little relief. Let's give him an ah. And you think you gave yourself the ah. You'd have given yourself the ah a long time ago if you were thinking about it. Your heart finally said, this guy's going to just go nuts if we don't do something. And the heart finally just tricked the brain into going, just breathe, do a breath. Yeah, but it can't be that simple. You're right. I'm rich. Let's move on. He just said, come to me. He didn't say, build me 17 mansions and find me a golden cow and then maybe I'll listen to you. Bend. Be ready to listen. So what is it that you're listening for? What is it in this time of unprecedented history, at least in my lifetime? I didn't grow up with the Black Plague, although some of you may think I'm that old, but I didn't grow up with that stuff. I didn't grow up with pandemics before. I didn't grow up where thousands of people were dying, where countries were shut down. I didn't grow up with that. Mason's growing up with it. Boy, is he going to have an experience in life. Michelle went to the store last night and there's no bread. Welcome to Russia, 1989. So the question then becomes, if everybody is hearing a same story, that's all everybody's hearing. It's taken precedence over their life. It's taken precedence over their job because maybe now they don't have one. Everybody is saying the same story. Everybody is in church and they're all singing off key. Because nobody really wants to be talking about this. But yet they do. So you know what everybody needs to be talking about now? Is what's the solution? That's why everybody went and bought bread, because they want control. There's 3 phases the mind goes through when you have an epidemic like this. When you have this mass herding like this, not hurting like cattle. The one thing that comes out that people can only have control over is what they do. So what do? They go to the store and they buy stuff that's inexpensive, that's gives them a chance to say, I did this. Think about your business. When you enroll somebody and somebody new rolls, do you feel good? Do you feel good when you enroll somebody for the right reasons? Do you feel good when somebody calls you up? How many times do people call you up and go, hey, I'm ready to get started? And if they haven't called you up yet and said, I'm ready to get started, your resume isn't out there. Think about this. Follow me on this. They need to know they've made the decision to do something. The fact that they're not calling you and have made the decision to do it with you means you haven't given them enough where they can look from the side of the stage. How many of you have ever been on stage and you've watched your friends from the sides of stages? I've spent the last 20 years watching my friends from the sides of stages because I've been backstage, and I go out to the side of the stage because you can't go out front because you got the mic on, blah, 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 blah. So you stand in the wing and you watch your friends from behind stage, or you watch them on the big screen and they're backwards, right? Because it's the reverse projection and it's projecting out to the audience. I can draw pictures of all of my friends, all of the top leaders that I know in this profession. I can draw them from backstage. It's who I call. Denny Robinson, who's one of the top income earners. She's definitely one or two top income earner in her company. She watched a live of mine and she was talking about the crazy corona. And she said, think of the people who are losing their positions right now. Everybody who's in convention work. Think about Orlando Convention Center. They can hold a couple of 100,000 people. You know how many people work there that are no longer working there? Disney's shut down. They're paying their people. But they said for a month. They said, we'll pay you for a month. Doesn't mean we're not going to be closed for more than a month. So what's your resume? What are you doing right now to not add to the hysteria? What are you doing that's going to allow people to say, well, that person still looks like they're in control. They haven't lost their marbles. Lost my marbles. Right, there's a TikTok video for you. Lose my marbles. So what can you do to give them control? You know what I did? Last night I did a live. I had 5 or 6 amazing women on it. Funny how no guys showed up. I had these amazing women, and some of the women that know me, they shared it. Why would they share me out? And you know what their reward was for sharing? Precious time with an Angel Fletcher. And she was just absolutely giddy. Danielle, wasn't she absolutely giddy? She was just excited to be on the call.
Yeah, it was just incredible experience. She was full of love and wisdom and caring. It was amazing.
Now, she said last night I didn't tell you how much money she makes. Because if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. That's why I didn't tell you.
I bet. Yeah, you never mentioned it yet.
7 years ago, she was driving with a car one way with as much money as she had to put as much gas in the car to get away as far as possible. 7 years ago. And now she makes more money than she knows what to do with, literally. I'm talking top 5%. I'm talking money that CEOs make in a year. She does in a month. But here's the only reason she receives that is because of that call last night. The philosophy of her call last night. She didn't know what she was doing. How many of you are in that boat? She had a reason to do something. And then she just did massive action with what she could. I told you, for those of you that don't know Angel Fletcher, you would not check the boxes on this woman. She's lost 402 pounds now total in her weight loss journey. She was wildly country, right? And I'm talking just a little goofy, she's a couple marbles short of a whole pool table. Her rack wasn't quite full, let me put it that way. She's just this, but she's got this heart. Well, she was interesting in many ways. Oh, I got you now. So, No, she got a full rack. So she's this amazing soul who just had this passion to help others. And the first person she had to help was her daughter. And the only way she could continue to help her daughter was for her to get help herself. And she didn't even know she was getting help. But she was starting to feel better, lose weight, be able to do more, help more, be more, have more. And then they sent, the company sent her a check. She's like, what's this for? And that's how she learned about network marketing. The compensation plan of network marketing. So if people are, what's the mission people have right now? To keep their family safe. What's the thing that everybody's going to be looking for? Aspirin doesn't. If you study viruses at all, there's very few things that can have damage on a virus. One of the things that can do that, I'm sure there's going to be. Let me just put it this way: watch in your health food store as people start to Google stuff about viruses. Watch what goes first in your health food stores. You'll probably see essential oils. People starting to use those like crazy. Because oil, a hydrocarbon, is one of the few things that can get into a virus. Now, don't ask me which one. I ain't a doctor, but I know there's certain things. That's why, like, typically colds, they've got to run. You can take an aspirin, you can lower a fever, you can do all these things, but they still got to run their course. Because there's nothing they can give you for a virus. But if you have, the body can take care of it if you give the body the right stuff to put in it. And sometimes, I'm not making any medical claim, essential oils will be a good thing for you. So what's your questions for today? Here it is, Saturday. We're in the middle of the biggest growth potential for all of our businesses. What are you doing to give people control? What are you doing to show people you are in control? What are you doing to show people that you've made a difference? I'm sitting here, and I love technology. I'm sitting here last night in our party in Costa Rica, and I get 3 text messages. Rhonda's enrolled 2 people, and another buddy of mine in San Antonio, who I've yet to meet, who's on the team, enrolled somebody. And I get these messages, and it's like, well, wait a minute, I'm having fun, I'm not working. No, I am working. Because we're giving people the chance to have control. When I get text messages like that, it means I've left a mark long enough, strong enough, that somebody had the courage to go out and have a conversation with somebody else to give them control. So that's what's called duplication. Careful what you're duplicating. Now, I promise you, I've never sat a Rhonda Bird Parker down and said, here's how you get control and here's how you go talk about control. Because remember how that thing that still runs around in her brain every now and then? Some people are just stupid. Some people are just stupid. And if I had that conversation with her, her action taker would come out and just slap the white off of my face. So how do you sneak around like that? How do you have a conversation with it and give it control that it says, oh, I can do this with a smile? Absolutely. It's what you've always done. And what happens is sometimes you introduce the action taker and the love maker, and they've been working together. They just didn't know they were on the same team. They were on the same court, but they weren't on the same team. You mean we can partner up? Yeah. And when your senses partner up, listen to this just downloaded. You know when your senses partner up is when you're in a crisis. Right? When you have a common enemy. I was talking to the corporate team yesterday, giving them some pointers, giving them some of my opinion, right? My perception about things they could be doing that would allow them to absolutely catapult our company to the next level. Because as much as we're part of the same company, there's still the hysteria. How much eyeball time does a company actually get from us? Very little. We do a corporate call on a Thursday. So in essence, besides checking your back office, we get a forward-facing message from our company once a week for 20 minutes. As good as that is, as great as that is, that means we got another 6 days and 23 hours and 40 minutes where we're on our own going crazy, doing stupid stuff. How can we get inside of somebody's head, inside of somebody's mind, to help them realize that they will not find control any other way than the butt that's in the seat that they're sitting in? Give them a chance to understand that they can make decisions, rational decisions, not herd mentality decisions, on their wealth, on their health. Countries are closing down. Italy is shut down. Shut down. 60 million people told not to go anywhere. I got buddies of mine who have called me, who I enrolled in another company 15 years ago. And we haven't spoken in 12 years. Sent me a message last night, said, you know, I enrolled somebody last night from my home. I go, well, I said a couple of Italian slang slurs to him, but I said, listen, you could have done this all the time. You just needed somebody to give, you needed a reason to marshal all of your emotions to get it done. The only business that's going to work is a home-based business. People are losing their stuff. What can you do to be the calm voice in the storm? When you listen to somebody, when you listen to a Maya Angelou, when you listen to an Eckhart Tolle, when you listen to a Deepak Chopra, a Wayne Dyer, an Earl Nightingale, a Napoleon Hill, the sound of their voice is what calms you. When your child is scared, you don't go off the handle. Baby, listen to me. Baby, listen. Mason, calm down. Can you give a message that reeks of confidence? Can you walk through a crowd and people want to touch your robe because they go, if I could just hang around you, I feel better hanging around you. Even the least amongst you can do this and more. Rhonda, I'm sure there's another phrase in the Bible, something's running through my head where it says, if you come before me with nothing, right? If you lay everything at my feet or something, if you come naked or you come, I don't know what I'm hearing, but if you come to me with nothing, I can give you everything.
Yeah, well, Christ said that to the disciples, to walk away from everything and come with me. And
so
that,
can you be that voice that says, walk away from all this hysteria and come with me? What's running through your head, young lady?
oh, through my head? Oh man, you had to ask me right now, didn't you? Because I don't want to say it. Okay, full disclosure. We're not live on YouTube, are we?
No, we're not live on YouTube. It's a recording and I can choose to replay.
Okay, so what's going through my head at this very moment is you're asking all these questions, and total honesty, I don't know why my ego's getting in the way. Total honesty, I'm over here going.
Was that Jesus said to come to the disciples?
Say it again.
What Jesus said to the disciples Leave everything and come with me?
No, I guess, no, let me get my words right. It's not guessing. I know I'm over here saying and hearing that this is what I'm doing. God has created in me a place that a lot of people feel extremely comfortable and confident around me, because I have found a place of confidence in Him. And there's rest, but everything you need at the same time. It's that doing less, being more. And
maybe that was the phrase I was looking for, the rest in me.
Well, there's a lot of rest in Him. There's lots of different scriptures on that. But you're sitting here describing all this, and I'm writing things down like people buy stuff during an epidemic or a pandemic to feel in control. What am I doing to let people see that I'm in control? I need to be careful what I'm duplicating. What am I duplicating? And God just keeps going, you're duplicating me. And you are showing that there is some confidence and some control in you, because you're allowing me to work through you. And one of the things, it's funny that you mentioned last night, 2 people being enrolled by me, but y'all, the 2 people that were enrolled, I only met them one time in my life, and it was at an event. And I spoke to him maybe 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And I've been moving for 2 days, a girlfriend of mine. And I've just been doing what God told me to do, which is serve this girlfriend of mine, help this friend, go serve her, be there for her. Who cares about toilet paper and whatever else people are buying? Who cares about an epidemic? Go serve this girl, go serve this girl. And the whole time I'm serving this girl, my phone's dinging that people are signing up. And I'm like, what? And the people that are signing up, like I said, I've only spoken to them one time. I met them one time, and it was a lady at an event who sat in front of me, and somehow they gave us something to do, say hi to somebody or something like that. I don't know what it was. And we spoke. I don't even know how we spoke. And we exchanged information during that meeting. And after the exchange, we all sat back down and started listening to the speaker again. And I got her cell phone number off her card, and I texted her. And I knew she didn't have my cell phone. And I said, hi, and I called her by name. It was great to meet you. By the way, this is the girl sitting right behind you. Turn around. And she turned around. She got it. And she's this extremely well put together, classy woman. And she got her phone buzzed, and she looked at her phone, and she read it, and she looks over her shoulder, and I go, y'all, that's all I've done. But my post on social, she follows me on social media, my post on social media, the way I just am obedient to what God has said to do, the calm that comes out of me. You know, yesterday I put up a calm, kind of in your face post that, I don't know, said something about the coronavirus. Well, you know, my work from home side gig ain't looking so bad now, huh? And no one would comment on it, but it was after I put up that kind of stuff that this ends up happening. So I'm sitting over here going, Sean, as you walk through this, I'm sitting over here going, well, that's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm doing that. And I'm doing that, but I'm not doing it because Sean told me to do it. I'm doing it because I know that that's the right thing to do. And it's also because through this whole stuff, my husband and I look at each other and we're like, I don't need to say that word, but how stupid can people be? You know, come on. Everybody get back in control. And as we're sitting there moving people, my phone dings again. You're going to get tickled at this. My phone dings again. And our church is about 1,200 people, 1,200 to 1,500 people. And they canceled services for my church on Sunday. because of the coronavirus, which made me chuckle. And I'm like, what kind of faith do we have? So you asked me what I'm thinking over here. I'm sitting here thinking I'm kind of on target. At least right now, what I'm hearing, I'm on target. And the proof is people are messaging me that I really don't even know, that I'm excited I get to know these women. And they're signing up. And this other, she messaged me and said, oh, by the way, I sent it to my other girlfriend too. Like, and that's the other name, Sean, that came across your message that I'd never met before. I think I just shook her hand once. So I'm sitting over here going, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I don't know why my ego's trying to get in the way and trying to make me downplay it. But can I give a message that reeks of confidence? Yes, I can. And do people want to hang around me? Right now they do. And that's great. I've never had that before. It's usually everybody, I'm like a stinky fish. Everybody wants to run away.
So then the question is, and y'all stir on this question for just a second. How many of us believe we're all connected? We've all got some kind of connection, right? So if we believe we're connected, here's where this thing falls apart. Listen carefully. It falls apart when you're in the moment of your post, of your presentation, and you reek confidence. People are like, man, I got to hang around you. It's when you leave, it's when you go, quote, backstage, when they can't see you anymore, and you turn into your true self. And they lose that, and they feel this new connection. And at a subconscious level, they disconnect. Man, I was there at the presentation. They came to the event. They were all for it. But now I can't get a hold of them. We all talk about they go into the MLM Witness Protection Program. Do you know why they go into the Witness Protection Program? Is because you showed your true self when you weren't on stage. So let's take this to another level in duplication. If I was this big butthead and Rhonda was who she was, do you think that chain of connection would have allowed those people to show up? If Angel was just the biggest witch on a broomstick. So if you start to look at your business and you start to wonder why, maybe, possibly, listen, let me ask you, do any of you look like your parents? And some of you might be an orphan and you don't know who your parents are, what they look like. I say that with honor and respect, and this ain't the first time you heard that. But do any of you look like your mom or dad? Do your mom or dad look like either of their mom or dads? Y'all starting to see how this works? It doesn't change in network marketing. Does Rhonda look like her older brother, her much younger older brother in business? Do I look like my younger sister in business? Yeah, you put us on stage, they're gonna go, oh, they're birds of a feather. They're all goofy, but they're birds of a feather. You look at the people down here in Latin America. Do they look like my kids? They may not look like me, but they go, there's something quite interesting about you. It's because it's the attraction, it's the energy that you pour into your team when you're not with them. There's some people who are excited when their upline leaves the room. So if you're struggling in your business, be aware of the DNA, be aware of the energy that's trying to flow through you. If you're trying to be somebody else and that ain't you, good luck with that. Good luck with that. So in this time of control, I'm going to ask you to start with you. You can't give it, right? You can't give it unless you got it. So what can you do to begin to gain control over the 6 areas of your life? You can't do this in one area because you'll be like a flat tire. Well, it's only flat on one side. Right? You can have 4 perfect tires, $4,000 tires. I've got them on my Hummer, $1,000 a tire. You get one flat, the other 3 really don't care. We're still good. We're still good. Drive us, but you're going to ruin the equipment. It ain't about the tires at that moment. Some of you are running on little low tires in your 6 areas. What are the 6 areas? Body, mind, family, society, finance, and spirituality. Right in the center. What do you have no control over in any of those areas? My bride, who's an attorney by trade, a mom by choice, and a wife to one of the absolutely most insane people on the planet. She messaged me last night. I swear to goodness, I thought I was talking to a 30-year veteran in network marketing who was truly one of those, hey, I got stuff for you. Come here. One of those kind of pushers. She was absolutely, she had gone over the edge. Oh my God, people are freaking out here. You should be doing live phone calls, teaching people how to do stuff. They can have our oils in a healthy shake and not have to leave the house. They can have protein. I'm like, who is this? She said, there's such an opportunity for you. I said, 22 years. I'm glad you finally got on board. So I say that to say, my bride is one of the most level-headed people on the planet with what she does and how she has to do it. And for her to get rattled, not that she's getting rattled, but she's getting rattled by how many people are getting rattled. She's like, people have lost their minds, and they have. Do you hear the phrase that they're saying? They've lost their minds. We've been talking about this for 390 shows. They've lost their mind. They've lost their memory of who they are. They've lost the pattern. In this moment, everybody, in this moment, you can choose joy or you can choose misery. When people have lost their minds, yes, God, thank you for losing your minds. We're entering into a new economy right now. We're entering into a new era of cooperation, of community. You know what's going to happen? People are going to be sitting on, you got coronavirus? No, you got coronavirus? Okay, I can talk to you. And we're going to have communities out the yin yang. We're going to go back to things being small. We're going to go back to knowing your neighbor. This is a transition back to 1918 when the First World War hit. This is a transition back to the time of the recession. You're going to get to know your neighbor again. Because if you stay in isolation, it's the second coming then, and we can all just go now. But this whole thing, this scaredness, it's going to bring out the good. It's going to bring out the extreme in people first. But you get enough moms who are taking care of their kids. Rhonda, they just extended Mason's spring break another week. What if they extended another week? Guess what we're all going to be asking you to do every other day? Teach us how to homeschool.
We can do it.
Y'all get that? Universities are going online. Well, guess what's going to happen to college tuition? Because we're not going to have to pay for brick and mortar. I guess that's going to hurt. Anyways, I'm not going to get political. I was going to say, anybody who wants to give college tuition away, well, I guess we just did that. Here's the thing. And if you think you're getting in control, you've lost it. Let me say that a different way. If you're going to have to work to get into control over something, you don't control it. You have to become steadfast in it. You have to become knowing in it. I know my relationship with my family. I know my relationship with my friends. I know who can count on me. I know who I can count on. Who do you have that you can count on? Who in your relationships that will go to the wall for you? What is it that you need? What wall may you be put up against? Here's the good news. I bet the prayer lines are packed. What's that phrase they say? I've owned boats before and yachts. And the funny thing is you usually get on a boat and if you get out in a little bit of a storm and you hear people say, oh God, I hope we get through this. I go, the funny thing is there's a sign that they sell in boat shops. There's no atheists at sea. And I bet there's a lot of people who will probably come back to the Lord, come back to some faith. They'll get real, I don't want to say religious, they'll get real spiritual. Challenges is they forgot they're going to get spiritual on a rotary dial phone and they don't know how to use it.
It's a must of doing less and becoming more. Or you don't do, or you keep trying to go, and no one comes around because everybody thinks you're sick or crazy. But what we're in at the moment is the perfect spot for doing less and becoming more. It's perfect. Perfect.
I have a friend who I'm going to talk to when I get home, have a serious business conversation because she's a serious businesswoman. But she owns one of the Southeast's largest flute stores. She's a world-class flautist, I'm not sure what you say. But if they're not holding concerts anymore, nobody's going to need their stuff tuned up. Right? It's going to affect everybody. I was talking with the owners yesterday. And it's interesting. It's interesting. We've been aware of each other for 2 years. We've had Zooms and conversations. But yesterday it was funny to watch. You ever have a conversation with somebody and they keep looking at you and they keep looking at you and they keep looking at you going, you've got an answer for everything. You've got an experience of everything. And I do. I have a unique experience on a lot of things. And the conversation kept expanding because it was about how do we help our community? And our community is our company. But when you play this deep, you've heard me say this on calls before, how do you play it deeper? When a company realizes the influence they have, right? 6 people away from Brad Pitt, 6 degrees of separation. One company can change this planet. Y'all follow me right now? One company can change this planet. One person can change this planet if your network is big enough. So here's the thing. Rhonda's church got a thing yesterday. Anybody send out a Zoom saying, hey, listen, we're going to do Bible study tomorrow. Anybody want to join in?
I did.
Why? Because you're comfortable with being in front of the room and not having to be in front of the room.
Yes, and I had like 17 people message me going, are you doing a Bible study? Yes, we are.
So we're going to create these little communities again. There's 1,200 people in the church, 17 responded. Somebody do the math on that. 1/10 of 1%. What is it that you can do right now for your community? What if, hey, listen, who's a little bit scared right now? I'm going to do a call. I have no idea, but I think if we just talk about it, maybe we can discuss have some conversations about what other people are doing or what you could do or who's anybody fearful for their income? What are you doing for savings? The stock market's kind of having a little whoop-de-doo, right? So now we got the virus. Now we got people, I don't know how many thousands were given back in my portfolio, but I didn't look. I don't care. Because Epictetus said 2,000 years ago, for those of you with desire, put it on the shelf until such time you decide what's within your circle of influence and what's not. And once you decide what's inside your circle of influence, everything else doesn't matter. Pick up, go back to the shelf, get your desire, and go to work. I can't do anything about the stock market. I can't do anything about Italy. I can pray. I can't do anything about people who didn't show up at my event. I can pray. So what's within my circle of influence? The people who are in my circle at this moment. Folks, there's what? Right now there's 15 people on this call. I applaud every one of you. Not because it's my call, but you're on somebody's call. I hope the other 85 people are on somebody else's call that have showed up on these calls. The other 2,000 people that have flowed through this are on somebody else's calls. Because if we're not deciding what we have control over, then you've given it to something or someone else. When somebody, God forbid, gets sick and they have a cold, when somebody gets a cut on their hand, when somebody has something happen to their body, they wind up focusing. Here's the good news. The body will heal itself. I saw a meme yesterday. Somebody said, I'm doing some marketing or some posts. Throw up some of your best coronavirus memes. And it was a Far Side one where they said, I got the coronavirus. I have a 98% chance of living. I'm so worried. I mean, isn't it crazy? I have a 98% chance of living. I get it. I get it. So you know what's going to happen? This organic thing that people are talking about, that might shoot through the roof. Right? This maybe bottled water is going to absolutely go berserk. Who knows? The point is that people are going to do a little bit more to be healthy, and they're going to be a little bit more on guard, and they're not going to go places. Travel is probably always going to be affected now for a generation, right? You guys who are young right now are going to grow up and your kids are going to go, well, can't we go to Slovenia? No, they get somebody over there kissed a goat one time, and then they've got coronavirus, whatever the hell it is. But you are being programmed right now that stuff gets crazy over there, right? And if it gets crazy over here, then you're going to be like, no. We live in Texas. We don't go to Oklahoma. Louisiana, those people are nuts. And your kids are going to be like, wait a minute. This is like Europe, 53 countries, and Italians don't like Slovenians, and because they're on the border.
Look what Shami said. Did you read it?
No, what she said.
Holy, holy, Holy Spirit.
Wow,
Yes!
girl.
Shami, you're freaking amazing.
Holy, holy, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Shami. Holy, holy, Holy Spirit. What's that thing? Rhonda, where did Jesus go? Was he ever taught by children? I know there's a lot of places where he talks about that, but was he ever, can you think of something particular? Because that's what just hit me.
Oh, yeah. There was a point where he was teaching, and they were telling all the women and children to go away, and he was like, no. Bring all those children to me. All the children can come to me.
So, Shami, that's what I heard when you just said that. So, you being my child, right? In friendship and relationship. So, thank you. Thank you for reminding me of that. Michelle Davis has a question. Hand up. I'm not sure if she's still on.
I am. I'm still here. I'm always here.
Okay.
I tried to from the beginning. And this has nothing to do with basically today's message. I'm going to relate back to yesterday. How do I tell my story? What is my story? I don't know what my story is. And it's funny because you didn't mention anything about anybody's story today. But I'm still stuck on yesterday.
Okay. So you want some help with your story?
Yes. I'm like, I can't remember who it was that spoke yesterday. I don't know what my story is. I don't like focusing on the past and what has happened. And possibly because I don't want to deal with the emotions and getting through it. I don't know. But I could care less what happened yesterday and previously in my life.
Okay. So here's the challenge. What's a resume?
It's the past. It's our accomplishments.
Right. So that's the key word. That, I think, is the one that just kind of just jumped out. You don't want to worry about the past. Well, you don't want to worry about the past of all of the things that were not good.
Right.
Here's your homework. Write down a list of 100 things that you did that were amazing, that you created an outcome that most people were surprised of. I've
done that. Okay. So that's my story, basically.
Well, that's the start of it.
Okay.
So how long ago did you do that?
It's been about 2 weeks ago because you had talked about it. It's like everybody that you talked to that day, you were telling them to do that.
Okay. So here's my question to you then. Here's the next bit of homework.
Before
we have our one-on-one, because that's where this is going to.
Okay.
Look back at that list of 100 things. See, because what I'm guessing is, what I'm thinking, maybe, possibly, there's a chance that the list of 100 are possibly, you either describe them in such a way in your mind when you wrote it down that it was, it was okay. It was, yeah, that was something I got through.
True.
Yeah, or was it really something that moved you? Was it really something when you wrote it, you go, you know what, damn it, I did that. I bet
it wasn't that for sure. Yeah. I didn't put that thought into it.
No, so folks, listen, so this is, again, leadership and learning through experiences. How did I know that the things that she wrote down on that paper weren't wildly exciting, make me jump off a cliff and go, I got to go with her. She's jumping, I'm jumping. Wherever she's going, I'm going.
Because it didn't have an impact on me.
Yeah, you gave me vanilla when I was looking for chocolate, baby.
Yeah.
You gave me vanilla ice cream in its liquid form. Blah!
Exactly. Exactly.
So I would go back and find the emotion behind some of the things, because you gave me a list. That's what you did. You wrote down based now this is coming to me. Your pattern is revealing itself inside of me from conversations. You gave me a list. You did the work. You're somebody who's very strategic, and you'll get the work done. I did the list. Teacher, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to fail, and you want to get the work done because that's a part of you. There's a story that, okay, that just told me a whole bunch more, a whole nother side of it, opened another door. That you want to get things done so you can kind of stay under the radar.
True. Very true.
So in staying under the radar, guess what happens? Literally, guess what happens? If you're under the radar, can I see you?
No.
Nobody sees you.
So if I can't see you, then guess what happens in your business?
No one sees me.
Right. You're that UFO that shows up on radar. Ooh, what's that? Captain, come here. Captain, come here. And the captain comes over, right? Where is it? It was here a second ago.
Yeah.
It was here a second ago.
Very true.
Where'd she go? And you're standing right in front of them. And then that feeds into, well, nobody sees me anyways. Why should I be seen in the first place? You're this beautiful, amazing woman. Unless you Photoshop something into your screen picture, but I know that's not true.
No
You're
filter, nothing. I don't like calling attention to myself.
Well, shocking. But so then here's the question, my love. Listen carefully. Breathe on this. Breathe with me. Take a big breath. If you don't want to call attention to yourself, then ask this question and listen for the answer. Please listen for the answer. Who's talking to me right now? It's not the one for the attention. It's the one that attention needs to be given to. There's a part of you that deserves attention. That's the one that's having the conversation with me right now. Because the other one, if the other one was strong enough, if the other one had its will, would you have raised your hand? No.
No.
So then ask yourself this. Sit quietly and do yourself a favor to just literally sit and listen. What would your heart be hearing right now? What would it be saying? Because for you, tell me how tall you are.
5'5".
Yeah. So, and then do you wear heels at all ever?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. So that makes you above average. And you got to be feeling pretty good, or you want to get your game on, meaning you just want to go have some fun when you put your heels on, because it's going to make you noticeable. 5'6", 5'7", forget it. You're like, right?
Yeah.
Women at that height, I don't want to, it's like this, woo, right? So
Yeah.
I say all say, when you draw attention to yourself, you don't have to do a whole lot of work to draw attention to yourself.
Right.
It's actually pretty dang hard work for you to keep yourself hidden. Because you don't have a high-pitched voice, right? So let me tell you a little story. So my bride and I were set up on a blind date by my mother. My mother, we're pretty sure, was Jewish, was Russian Jew, based on everything that we figured out. So Yenta, right? Matchmaker. So I'm in Puerto Rico and I get a Polaroid. Some of you have heard this story, with a phone number on the bottom, in my mother's handwriting, a phone number on the bottom of the white of the Polaroid, and it says, call her. That's it. No letter, no nothing, in an envelope to me in my office in Puerto Rico. And I opened the picture and it says, call her. But the first thing I said, I was driving to Levittown to go to one of the power plants. And I opened up this envelope. It was sitting on the car next to me. I had a yellow Volvo at the time. And I can see it just as clear as day. And I open it up and I pull it out and it says, call her. I'm thinking, is she held captive? Is she here on island somewhere? What's the code to this? Because that's all it said. But Michelle at the time had long hair and she had permed it up. It was her birthday dinner with her dad. And the first thing that I said is like, please, if I'm going to have a conversation with her, please don't let her have a high pitched voice. Please don't let her have a high pitched voice. And I say that to say there's this whole genre, right, of blondes, beautiful blondes, and hey, oh, hi, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And you don't fit that, so you break the mold right there. Now, when I did call Michelle and I finally got a hold of her, that's a whole nother story I'll tell you about, but I finally get a hold of her and somebody answers the phone at her house and I'm calling from Puerto Rico. I know exactly where I was. I was on my cell phone. I was right there in front of Palo Seco. Palo Seco is the power plant for the power authority in Levittown there. And this person answers the phone, and I thought it was this 4-year-old girl who answered the phone. Hello? Oh God, please let this not be her. Hi, my name's Sean. Is Michelle there? This is she. Oh, for the love of Jesus. But that call has now turned into a 20-year marriage, 22-year amazing relationship.
Aww.
So I got over it, right? Because when we met, I fell in love and I almost screwed it up by not calling her for 2 weeks. That's a whole nother story. So my point is back, right? This is all about me. Let's make this about me, Michelle. I'd go back and find those things. And maybe it doesn't have to be 100 because see, you got through the list. How long did it take you to do the list? Less than an hour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like, wow, I mean, I honestly didn't get anything out of it.
No, because all you did was make a list of stuff you thought was, well, let's see if this qualifies.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and ask you, so do you have children?
No.
Have you had relationships?
Yes.
Do you remember your first boyfriend?
Yes.
Do you remember your first breakup?
Yes.
Are those on the list?
Kind of, because I was married and divorced, so I overcame that. So that part of it is on the list. Yes.
Okay, so your first boyfriend, is that who you married?
Yes.
Okay. So, and how long ago did you divorce?
Lord, over 30 years ago.
You ever have a date since?
Yes.
Yeah. Are those on the list?
Yes. Well,
So,
because I had 3 marriages under my belt, so I overcame all 3.
okay. So I would encourage you to go back to 10 of them. 10 of them, not that you overcame. See, there's an interesting word you used. I overcame them. Overcame them meant you got back to even.
True.
What is something that gave you an awareness and awakening that you could have never experienced any other way? What was the joy, the most joyous moment? Did you ever learn to ride a bike?
Yes.
Is that on the list?
No.
Yeah, see, that's a fun thing. That's a memory you've now had and you can never lose. That doesn't hurt you.
True.
I bet all of the memories.
Most of the memories, I would say 60% of my list is tied to
Pain.
non-joy. Yeah.
Yeah. The removing of pain from your life. Oh, I got rid of that pain. I pulled out 687 splinters. I could give you a list a mile long. So let me see if I can rephrase the exercise. Did you ever see a sunset?
Yes.
What's one of the most memorable sunsets you can remember?
On a farm.
On a farm. What kind of farm?
My grandparents.
Cattle, sheep, goats?
Yes. Cattle.
Cattle. Yeah. So grandparents are usually cattle. I don't know too many grandparents who raise goats. So cattle, Black Angus, Hereford, dairy, what?
Dairy.
Dairy, because grandparents, that's probably how they made a living.
Yes.
So where you were standing, were you upwind or downwind from the feedlot? Could you smell the manure?
No.
No. See, I love the smell of cow manure. I know I'm nuts. When I drive by a farm, and if it's a chicken farm, we're taking another direction. Pig farm, another direction. Cattle farm, when I go from El Paso to Las Cruces, there's a dairy farm there. There's got to be 3,000, 4,000 cattle right there on the side of the road on 10. And the speed limit's 70. I'll do 60. Just cause. So you were standing there on the farm. Were you on a hill, on a porch? Where were you at?
No, just kind of like in an open area.
In an open area. How long ago, if you had to guess, how long ago was that?
I was probably 6 or 7 years old.
Okay. So has this sunset made it on the list?
No.
No. So this was 6 or 7 years old. You're in the moment of still maximum absorption. You're taking in everything. Were there trees around, or was it an open field?
No, there was one big tree.
One big tree. Do you remember what kind of tree?
No.
Where were you all at? Were you up north? Were you down south?
And in the south, in central Kentucky.
Central Kentucky. So probably could have been a maple, right? Big trunk, tall tree. Was it a tall tree?
It was an old tree. Yeah, it was a big tree. Yeah, it was a big tree. Well, I mean, at my age, it was huge, you know.
Yeah, huge tree. Yeah, I mean, you could have built 17 tree houses in it. Did it have leaves on it?
It did. It was springtime. I mean, the grass was, well, definitely late spring because the grass was very green. I mean, it's like it happened yesterday.
So, and when you were 7 years old, that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, just a couple.
Why do you think that memory is so vivid, but it was so hidden?
I don't know.
That'd be the question I'd ask. That's a question I'm asking you now. Why do you think that image is so? See, here's the thing. Here's the other thing. And you know, I love you. When you have these conversations, if you ever have these conversations with folks, because of your confidence, because of your strength, because of the shit you've been through,
Mm-hmm.
you can instantly and easily say, you know, I don't know that answer. And it comes across with such confidence because I just heard it.
Mm-hmm.
That the inquisitor chooses to take another direction. See, to me, that's just a distraction. And that doesn't distract me. So I'm going to ask you, why do you think I'm going to ask you to dive into it a little bit here. Why do you think something so vivid that was yesterday didn't make it on a list of 100 amazing things?
It's because it wasn't tied to pain.
Exactly. So what happens now when Michelle starts to become pain-free? When Michelle starts to live a life of, I don't have to remember all the misery. We all have so you know what a manure spreader is, do you?
Yes. Yes.
We all got a manure spreader, and some of us haven't even put anything in it yet. We've been carrying it around. Go put it in the damn manure spreader. And if you're a good farmer, you'll turn it into fertilizer. That's what we're doing right now. We're taking some of these pain stories. We're going to let you get rid of them. I'm glad you wrote them down because now you can burn those papers.
Uh-huh. And that's what I need to do. I mean, that's exactly what I need to do.
So tell me more about this, the sunset. When did you catch the sun? Was it 2 fingers from the horizon? Was it just a finger from the horizon? You know, that's usually how you can tell the time, right? How many ever fingers there are between the sun and the horizon is how many hours of daylight you got left. If you had to guess, it had to be pretty close because 7 years old,
I could
waiting
still see the yellow ball.
exactly. So yeah,
So
7-year-old.
probably 2 fingers, if I'm guessing.
Yeah. So it's happening pretty quick. What brought you to the field? Do you remember what brought you to the field or to that place?
We were just at Grandma's house. It was right outside her house.
So
we were
what
just
were
playing outside, and I don't even
stopped.
remember who all was out there at this point. I just remember I can see myself standing there looking at it.
So here, everybody pay attention to what she just said. She became the observer. She's now the observer of something momentous, something joyous in her life that she could remember like it was yesterday. And it didn't make it on the list of amazing things.
Mm-hmm.
So now you sit there as the observer, not even sure who you were playing with.
Yeah.
But I bet you if we go back through your list of the 60% of the things that were kind of pain related, you could tell me exactly who was in those situations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Very detailed. Yeah.
See how that little programming has played out just now.
Yeah.
So I would ask you to do is, so based on where you were standing as the 7-year-old and based on where Grandma's house was there a porch nearby?
Yes.
Could
I
you
was in
sit,
between the porch and the tree.
so if you, the you that I'm talking to now, did Grandma have rocking chairs on the porch or a swing on the porch?
Yes.
Could you go sit in that swing right now and watch your 7-year-old self out there just oogling this? So here's what I want you to do. Part of your homework is to sit on that porch.
Okay.
But I want you to take in everything you can see from where you're sitting on the porch. If you turn around, there's probably a big window somewhere that looks into the house, probably looked into the living room. You might have been able to see the kitchen. Right? So if you're sitting on that porch, and that's going to be your homework, is to just go sit on the porch, watch yourself play. I bet the names of who you were playing with will show back up.
Okay.
See if you see any birds. Right? What sounds could you hear? Can you hear yourself giggling?
Mm-hmm.
And go back, because folks, these are the moments, most things in life that give us a scar, good, bad, or indifferent, happen usually between 3 and 7 years old. So you were at Grandma's. How do you remember where home was? How far away was home?
3 hours. 3 hours north.
Okay. So then sit there and ask yourself, how long had you been at Grandma's? Did you just get there that day?
Probably the day before or the night before.
So you overnighted at Grandma's. So imagine this little girl, Michelle, who was told the day before, at some point, or maybe a couple of days before, this weekend we're going to Grandma's house. You're going to go to Grandma's house. Did Grandma come pick you up, or did Mom or Dad drop you off, or were Mom and Dad there?
No, Mom and Dad were there.
So we're going to Grandma's house. So I want you to sit for just a moment and remember the feeling. Can you go back to when you were home and the feeling of you were told you were going to Grandma's house? And see, all of that wiring exists. All of that wiring exists in your body because anything that's ever been said to you, anything you've ever said has been recorded in your brain. That's what you repeat on a regular basis, becomes permanent. Let me ask you this. When's the last time you thought about this sunset?
I don't know that I've ever recalled it.
But it's something, but listen, folks, listen to this. Listen to what Michelle said. Thank you for being such an amazing student, an amazing example of leadership right now, Michelle. I can recall it like it was yesterday.
But I haven't recalled it since it happened. Yeah.
So now all of a sudden, what is our responsibility to our community, to the people who come into our circle, is to remind them of how amazing they are. If Michelle's in our profession, this might be the first time she's ever been prospected into a company, but I guess not. She's this person that everybody says, if I could get Michelle, oh my God, she would freaking tear this thing up, because what does she do? She tears shit up. She gets stuff done. But there's always been this challenge because she's forgotten the sunset that changed her life. What if all it takes is us to have a conversation with somebody to help them remember a sunset from when they were 7? Y'all see why I have different relationships with my people, my friends, my family, because I'm on a small talk diet. We got to a conversation of a 7-year-old sunset that's probably 40 years old, 50 years old. Remember like it was yesterday, but haven't even thought about it. So I'm going to ask you, Michelle, for yourself, for your own sake, go back and sit on that porch and whenever you're in doubt, go watch that sunset. Go watch yourself enjoying that sunset. Go watch yourself as a 7-year-old who at that moment, the world couldn't have been better. And watch the wiring that shows up inside of you. Watch these new connections. Watch these feelings, the tingles that you get in your body. When you get goosebumps, listen, folks, when you get goosebumps, that's a physical change in your body. When it makes your hair stand up on end, that's a physical change in your body. So I say all of that to say, I forgot where I was at. I'm so into the call. I'm like, wait a minute, I have an event to get to. What the hell time is it? So I'm good. So when you get goosebumps and you hear stories, that's a physical change in your body. That's an electrical change in your body. That's a rewiring of your body. And it's when your cells coalesce and they get into, and they start to align the energy within them and you get these tingles, that you can live in that state of goosebumps. Whoa. I'm like, wait a minute, one of us is falling. So Michelle, thank you for being so courageous. Thank you for being open enough. And thank you for letting us meet your little 7-year-old. Because that's the one that's saying, can I come out and play? Can we go to, imagine Michelle, imagine if you got to say this. I've partnered with a company who allows me to go to grandma's house as often as I want.
Yeah, exactly.
I've partnered with a company that gave me back a sunset from when I was 7 years old. Isn't that what it's done?
It has. And I thank you for everything.
Well, I thank you for being the one to accept your own visions. Come on, folks. I'm not smart enough to go, hey, did you ever have a sunset that that made a mark on your life? All I saw, so here's how this happens to me. The Holy Spirit threw in a picture because we had a beach house on Anna Maria Island in Florida. And we would go there and we were on the 2nd story and it was the top of the building and you could look out and we could watch these sunsets all the time while we were grilling Costco hot dogs. And that's the picture that showed up. So I'm like, all right, so I'm supposed to ask about a sunset. And listen, folks, think about the answer you would have given. You've probably seen a lot of sunsets. What was it that triggered her to go back to 7 years old? That, Jim Rohn would say, is a clue. That's a sunset from 7 years old that it's never come up onto the radar before, but can remember it in a magnificent detail? Shocking. Yep, Michelle mentoring us again. You're right, Shammy. So, there you go. RBP, closing comments?
Michelle, thanks for showing up. Thank you so much for showing up. I'm telling y'all, I know I say that a lot, but when you guys speak up and show up, y'all change something inside of me. And while you were sitting at grandma's house, I had two memories. One, if I talk about it, I'll be too emotional because it was with my grandparents. And then the other one, it's funny you said beach, Sean, because there was a moment when my daughter was 3 and we were down on the beach in September. And it's this beautiful, beautiful hot weather. And her and my little niece, and they're 2 years apart. So Abigail was 5 and Amelia was 3. And they've got these cute little sun hats and they've changed clothes, and they're in these cute little beach dresses with these little skinny straps, and they're walking into the sunset. So all you can see is their silhouettes, and they're holding hands and they're swinging hands. You know, they're not just little short little suckers. And they're having these little profound 3 and 5 year old conversations. And Amelia and Abigail are talking, and Abigail goes, how did she say it? She said something about how we get to watch the sun go bye-bye, but it's really the earth that's moving. This is 3 and 5. And Amelia's like, the earth is moving? So instantly your conversation took me back there. And, and because of that, Michelle, I'm over here just happy as I can be. And had you not showed up and let Sean walk you through this, I probably would have skipped out on remembering that precious memory again today. And then you just spurred me on to what Sean means when he says, you know, Jesus said, I put before you life and death, joy or misery. Choose life, choose joy. And now you've given me another tool, Michelle, to help me find that joy. When I'm having one of those moments where I'm stuck in misery, I'm like, hang on a second, I can choose joy. And I can turn into that giddy little kid. And I can sit and I can giggle and I can laugh. And I can make up funny hashtags and post them on social media. And I can do stupid stuff like that. And then one other thing, when you decide to show up, and for lack of better words, we'll call this public, even though we're not out to the public per se, and you do it publicly in our group, you're asking for a barrier to be removed so you can honestly show up. And it's scary, you get a little apprehensive, but when you do that, you're accepting the breakthrough that God's been wanting to give you for a while now. And you're saying, okay, I'll accept it now. And you step into it. You'll still be a little apprehensive, but you'll step into it. And when you do, that breakthrough is not just for you. That breakthrough will help you by all means, but it's for everybody that you allow to partake in your breakthrough. So there's another little piece of me that I keep wondering, why do I have these moments here lately where I'm just retarded acting, like smiling and happy and poking people and, you know, having fun? And it's because the more I'm around breakthroughs like yours, Michelle, and the more I hear choose joy, choose life, choose joy, choose life, it starts sitting into the deepest part of my cells. Being a kid again, yeah, it starts sitting into my cells so deeply that it changes the vibration in my cells. And I'm just this goofy little fun kid. I'm just trapped in a 45-year-old woman's body. My brain is having a blast. I'm having a blast. So thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. You made my, is it Saturday? I think it is. You made my Saturday amazing. And I'm forever, ever thankful of that. And I've got all these great things to write down and look at. And I'm going to see how many people I can take, for lack of better words, to Wonderland with me today. So yay. I'm still a little jealous I'm not with you, Sean, but I'm going to have joy over here in East Texas. So.
Well, wish you were here too. Everybody keeps asking about you.
Hug them all for me. Give them all kisses.
Who?
Stop. Go up to Kayla and poke her in the shoulder and say, Jewel, Kayla, Jewel.
Okay. So there you go, folks. This isn't, you want to know why this business becomes so complicated? Seriously, here's why this business, this profession becomes so complicated. Because we're trying to keep everybody from their 7-year-old sunset. We work hard to keep people from their sunsets, from their moments of amazing memory. And we try to convince them this is a business. The only business we're in is building people. And right now, people are getting scared. They need somebody who's going to say, take a breath, with or without your mask on, take a breath, and just be present in this moment, because you can only make a decision in this moment. You can only take action in this moment. Maybe the best advice you can give to somebody is to stop all of the action and become present. Just become present in this moment. Look in your room. Look around you right now, wherever you're at. Is life a mess? Is life crazy? Then ask the qualifying question. Could it be worse? Yes. Could it be better? Yes. Which do you choose? Better. Then be in the present now and take the next step, the next thing you do, the next breath you do, make it better. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. So there you go, folks. I appreciate you. Thank you all for showing up on a Saturday. I get to go, today's the day I get to get on stage. Yay! And I won't, so yesterday, I don't know, I guess none of you would all know this. So Angel was on, and she was, she showed up because she came in via Zoom, and they had her on the big screen up there. And she was kind of frozen, and everybody was quiet. The whole room was quiet. It was like one of those, I'm okay with a pause. I'm okay with silence. But when it's 45 seconds and nobody's saying anything and nobody sees anything going on, and people are starting to get antsy. So I go running up from the back of the room to kind of give Angel a kiss on her cheek. And and I know this for 20 years being on stage, usually between the back of the stage and the screen, there's some space. Well, there's about 12 inches of space that when I went to step off to get closer to the screen to give Angel a kiss, down I went. I mean, 238 pounds of sack of potatoes down. And you could I could hear the whole audience, but so I was raised on a farm. So I took this tumble and I did a complete flip, right? I rolled and popped back up and went, and everybody's like, oh, I could just the look in their eyes, right? A whole bunch of Latinos in the room. All I saw was white eyes. It was funny. And so today I hopefully get on stage without falling off of it. So that's my goal for today. Don't fall down when I get on stage today. I love you tons. I appreciate y'all. The world's a better place with you in it. Go help one person a day. Go help one person. Go give one person a level of calmness. Give them a chance to go find their sunset or riding a bike or whatever it is in their life. Remind them of their greatness. And you know what? You'll continue to make the world a better place for you and for me. And for that, I'm grateful. I'm Sean Murphy, founder of Mental Profits. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
Bye, y'all. I love y'all.
Have a great Saturday.
Love you,
Love
my
you guys.
Misfit family.
Love you. Bye.
Everybody have a blessed one.
Love you guys.
Have
Thank
fun
you.
on stage, Sean.
Yeah.
Or falling off stage. One of the two. Either way.
Stay on the stage.
Stay on the stage. Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Love you all.